you have done coaching on various different ways of people to make money online. You've sat on Skype calls with people. Can you tell, can you tell if someone's going to be successful based on an email or a conversation, or how they show up to a Skype call pretty quickly at this point?
Absolutely.
Okay. What marks someone who is going to be successful and someone who doesn't?
This is something I'm very intrigued by and very passionate about at the moment. Just like decoding not just people like Henry, who I know is going to be successful, but also people who I feel like very delusional and very much I would bet against if I could.
When did you know Henry was going to be successful? Because I remember a time where we were all in Las Vegas, and the running joke was we'd walk into Henry's room and YouTube would be on.
Oh yeah,
and be like, what's Henry up to?
Baboons.
He's YouTubing, and we
Brazil.
were.
I was building skills and assets.
Sure. So did you? And we lived together at various points. Henry contracted for us. We paid him $1,000 to do some WordPress stuff at one point. When did you feel like you knew? We paid you $1,000. Don't say that we didn't.
It does not pay well.
It didn't pay well. Don't get me wrong. You probably did.
$300
I saw his credit card.
You did.
The gold credit card.
Henry,
The gold credit card.
I knew Henry would do well when he gave up the gold credit card and had to go and work. I don't know what to disclose here in certain.
You could say, Henry had to go bartend.
Bartend.
I sure did.
In a male club.
And female.
And a female club?
In a gay club.
The
You
reason
can disclose that. I really don't care. I'm just being facetious.
Yeah, the reason that Benji's being a little weird is because Henry worked in a gay bar in Vegas, and at one point had to walk around without his shirt on and serve shots
out of his
sometimes out of his belly button.
It's the running joke right here.
Question: were you just shirtless? I always picture you in a banana hammock.
Let's
type
go
thing.
back to the business. No, of course. Yeah, I was in my underwear.
You were in your underwear. That's what I thought.
Yeah, I was in my
Yeah.
underwear. Bartending. Luckily, I've scared the dog.
Our laughter.
moving
Our
on.
laughter.
It sucked. Go ahead. Tell more about
I
me.
also realized.
When did you know? So was it at that point that you knew when he went? Because there was a period where he even stepped away from online stuff to go make money, serving drinks and that kind of stuff.
Well, Henry's a little bit different because I didn't analyze him specifically as a skill level, but I analyze his environment. He's around 9 people who all make passive incomes online and moves around the world with them. Like, you're gonna get drawn into that.
Got it.
And also you're doing body shots at your belly button and you come home and I know you don't like that.
Well, credit to Henry though. Henry was making 6 figures at XS.
No.
80 grand a year. How much does a
well, then he moved to a
what is
different,
that
larger
called?
club in Vegas.
Oh, well, we're
server
talking about
in
various
XS.
points.
That's what I'm saying.
The lowest where I was most unhappy is what Benji described.
But what does someone make? So at one point, I forget the word, but you were a busboy. You were a busboy at XS, the nightclub in Las Vegas.
Yep.
What do they make a year?
Every year I would have in my bank $25,000.
Saved.
In my bank, saved. And I didn't really have to pay taxes because they took them out while we worked. I don't know the exact numbers. I'd say
sure, but I'm saying you
$60,000.
You didn't actually go from a job you hated to an entrepreneur. You actually could have. You found a cushy job that paid well. You didn't like it, but your girlfriend worked there too.
Yep.
You could have coasted. You actually could have at that point given up the entrepreneur dream and just gone, this is cool. I'll do this for 10 years.
It's comfortable in a cheap city, yeah.
When did you think that Henry was going to be successful at that point? When did you?
Dude, I knew Henry was going to be successful when he got in a car after a breakup, threw all of his stuff in the back, and you got a phone call at Improv, and it was Henry going, I just broke up, or Shayla and I just broke up, and I'm on my way to LA. And I went, you know what? At this point, I definitely bet money on Henry being a successful entrepreneur because he burned the boats. Like when he was in Las Vegas, making good money, chilling, going to parties for free, seeing sick concerts for free. Yeah, why? There's no fuel there. But for some reason, there was enough fuel to get in that car and call you and say, I'm on my way. And that was when I was like, he's definitely going to be successful now because he burned the boats.
So I remember it was a few months earlier. I was in Safeway talking to you, and you were contemplating quitting XS, which was the job that you're describing, and going full-time on this business that you'd been, if you looked at your tax returns, your revenues and your expenses were the same, so you made no money.
Yes, I was break even for
you were
months.
break even for months, working part-time.
XS or?
No, at
entrepreneurship.
FBA and that kind of stuff.
Living a comfortable life,
and
making good money in his job.
He had the foundational
even on his
stuff
business
in place, but wasn't giving it the attention because he had this full-time job and was super tired.
Yeah.
And he was, do I feel comfortable? And was when he left that job and went full-time on it. I was like, okay, now is his best shot. And I'm not saying that anybody listening should quit your job necessarily.
But if you're really handsome, you might want to quit your job and go work at a club in Las Vegas.
Yeah.
It's a good way to make some cash.
Straight up cash. Yeah, just so the audience knows, I am not a smart guy. I think I'm persistent, and I got in a good environment. I didn't really do too well in school, and I think it was a matter of persistence and the people around me.
Mm-hmm. Anything else that you see in your calls, Benji, with people?
So it's very different with people than with Henry, because
his environment was completely different than every other person you're talking to. Yeah.
I also would put a timeline on that. So me and you, I think, differ in this opinion, but I believe everyone can be successful in the right environment given enough time.
Yeah.
And I would analyze,
and we mean successful just financially in this
financially free through a passive income business, paying their expenses. And I think it's just like the people who I know are going to be financially free or successful in 2 years either already are and just want to do more of that, or you can see a very growth-driven mindset. They depersonalize everything, and they understand, like Henry said, they are going to fail along the way. They are going to make mistakes along the way, and they're incredible opportunities to learn the path, because the path is proven. There's tens of millions of people who've done it, and you just got to get on it and follow those footsteps. And when you fail, it just means you slightly went off the path, go back, go the other way. And the best way to shortcut that is to find someone who does it well and follow them. And the people who I think do the worst immediately, they're entitled. They think they're entitled to financial freedom. They hate their job, and they're a very victim mindset. Like, I can't be doing this anymore. I had one guy jump on a call and he's like, I'm trusting in you. I really need this. I'm like, dude, what are you talking about? This is not for me. I'm trusting. And anyone who's like, I'm down. Like, I got on a call the other day, and I took this guy on for mentorship, and I wasn't even offering mentorship. And he was just like, dude, I'll do anything. I understand. He showed me his product ideas, and they're very premium, nice looking products. His, I believe, Romanian, not 100% on that, and speaks like 5 languages. And he's just like, I'm bussing tables at a coffee shop, and I work 8 hours a day. Then I come home and I work 8 hours on my business. And you can just tell it's just a matter of time, because he has that growth mindset, and he's willing to put in the work and learn.
Got it. Well, I agree that the number one thing is persistence, because to Henry's point, I've seen guys that they weren't straight A students by any means, but they just stick with it and they end up being successful. And we even have our most successful friend, in my opinion, who now runs like a huge bone broth company and a big keto company. But his first business, he wanted to do coconut vodka. And he took so long sourcing the perfect recipe and the perfect vodka. And I was in a club in Vegas one day, and his company was going to be called Kovo. And all of a sudden I say, hey, dude, I got some bad news. I just bought a Voco. It's exactly your product, but it already exists, and you're 6 months from production. And he spent a year or so on it and just shut it down immediately, which is total failure in quotes, right? So yeah, we had a failure. Everyone I know that's successful had a failure. And so I think if you're going to be a successful entrepreneur, you have to be able to just take that on the chin and go, all right, so that was a complete waste of time. Voco exists. They ate my lunch. What's next?
I have a question, and this I don't know if we're going to get anywhere, because you and I always disagree on this. You mentioned it. You think anyone, given the right environment and time, will break through, make enough money to cover financial freedom? I don't have that view. My view is that, well, go ahead. You wanted to hop in?
I'm confused how we can't get on the same page.
So what is your view? Share your view.
My view is that if you just zoom out and you see what happens, a small percentage of people actually do it. And I think that's to say that 5% of people do it. Maybe with shifts, 10% of people could, or maybe 20% of people could, but the other 80 might be better served to recognize. And I'm not saying that everyone can't try and be like, oh, who knows if I'm in that 5%. But
what do you think the recipe is to be in that 5%?
It's not just persistence, because there's survivor bias around our friends, right? You know what I mean? Like, we haven't talked about our other people who we didn't like them for other reasons, but some of them have contacted you recently.
Oh, dude, there's
persisting.
He supports himself as an entrepreneur. I just don't like him.
Okay, so even at that point, he already was supporting himself. I'm saying that you haven't met this. There's a lot of survivor bias in our persistence friends who have made it, and I think that oftentimes not out of any sort of malice. It's easy to forget about all the people who do not have your brain power, do not like just don't have the raw IQ behind it, and the problem solving skills.
I'm not saying that everyone can be a successful entrepreneur.
Well, Benji and I often
I'm saying if you show me someone who lacks mental toughness and persistence and has 160 IQ, and you show me someone else who's very persistent and has 100 IQ, that's the average, right? 100?
Sure.
I'm going to bet on the...
Wow.
What?
Imagine that.
I'm going to bet on the 100 IQ guy. And I think the 160 IQ guy is going to end up being a really good employee.
I think that may be true. That's possible.
That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying everyone can be successful. I'm just saying I think that the thing I look around and see is the ability to fail and then get up and try again.
Sure. If that 160 IQ guy is made of glass, because the other thing that's IQ is highly correlated with income. It's insane.
Sure, with income.
Yeah.
Well, most people are employees.
Okay, you're saying
though.
employee.
Most people are employees.
Yeah,
you go be a CEO of a company, you make millions of dollars.
Sure.
You just didn't start it.
My thought is when you say can be successful, so take Mr. 160 IQ, he doesn't have persistence. Persistence is a learnable thing. Persistence was learned by the people who have persistence because they've learned from people around them that's worked well in the past. He can be successful by just learning persistence, but he needs a goal and a pull or a push if he's in pain strong enough to shift his identity to be someone who is now persistent.
Yeah. Well, I think persistence comes from having a big enough why.
Yes.
I think it just comes from having a huge burning desire.
I agree. But Charlie, you say that he could not be successful.
No, I think you're saying there's different things that hold people back, right?
Well, without focusing on persistence as much, I'm saying the word "could" is kind of a strange word.
That's the disagreement.
I mean, it boils down to this word, which is, well, if they could, then why don't they? They don't want to be financially free. They don't. Why is it that in any given course, a great success rate for financial freedom would be 5% of the attendees? Now, these are people who put their money, showed up, go to events. There's courses that. I don't mean to, this isn't to badmouth them at all, but there was one that Dane Maxwell ran called, what was it? It was a software as a service. They helped you. The Foundation.
Foundation, yeah.
And it not only, it was accountability throughout. It was over the period of months. It was accountability, over and over and over again. Not just like, hey, here's the information, but a community to support, and 5% of people maybe make a successful, sustainable business.
I think what I'm saying is anyone listening to this podcast, if they understand they first have to find the right environment, then they're going to be much more likely to be successful.
100%, 100,000%. I would say that's one of the biggest things that you should do.
Yes, and where we disagree,
that raises your success rate from 5% to 10%,
or even 1 to 5. Who knows?
Or 1% to 10%. Yeah, but you're still at 10%.
Yeah.
For your first business.
Sure.
Like for these Y Combinator businesses, these other 90% of people don't go back and work at a supermarket.
I bet some do though.
Maybe.
So let's move to a different topic. But I and if you want to respond to this, I'll give you a chance. But I think the big difference is you're a smart guy, and for you, everything is always just come, man. You win. You're like good at this. You're good at that. You're just like, oh, when I try, stuff works. And I think it is hard for you to imagine the reality of someone without your horsepower, and what it is like. Because for you, you're like, oh, I didn't succeed. As I reflect, I didn't really try that hard, and I didn't have the right mentors. And then you get it in place, and then you win.
Yes.
And I do think that it is not at all malicious, but like an inability. And even when you look in your friends and family, they're all above average. It's difficult to imagine what it is like to be below average, because I think you don't encounter it so frequently. Neither do I. I just read about it sometimes.
I agree with what you said.
Should we transition into black pill?
Yeah, let's do it.
Did
Did you have some stuff? Or is that what Justin had, or is that what?
No, I'm saying that's what this reminds me of, which we've never talked about.
What is black pill?
Yeah, Charlie, what is black pill?
Well, I thought that this was Justin's topic.
Oh, is it? I don't know. Justin, what do you got?
Was this the black pill, or is that me? Am I supposed to say this?
I don't know.
You can say it.
It's 2:30. Justin, let's kick it to you, Justin.